love him, but
he's got to do a backflip just to get out of the crowd.
Yeah. I asked him, I said, you in show business? He said, no. I said, well, get off my stage.
Well, let's give a nice All-Star FanFest welcome to Hall of Famer Dave Winfield.
All right, everybody grab seats.
Tell me about that dub that you blew up with the home run.
Grab your phones, do whatever. So, yeah, we're going to have a nice half-hour talk with Mr. Winfield here. Make sure, just if you were here for the last one, raise your hand when we get to the Q&A part, and we'll try and get to as many questions as we can. So,
yes.
Great seeing you.
Always great. Always good to see you.
Welcome back, and how's the weekend been going for you?
It's busy.
Yes.
Out there, I told him, I said, but you want to get something done, go to a busy man. And it's been extremely gratifying. Come back here to San Diego, be a host, be an ambassador for this All-Star game. I did it way back in '78, but to do it with Trevor Hoffman, and the All-Star game festivities have just like grown exponentially.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about it last time, but I don't know if these guys were here. You kind of started the FanFest back in '78. You were the reason why it happens.
Yeah, it's a true story. And my first All-Star game was 1977. I played in New York, went to Yankee Stadium. And you got to understand, the All-Star game, the guys would just fly in, they'd have a luncheon with the commissioner, they give you a painting of your first All-Star game, and then you'd practice in private. You know, the media would be there, and the game would play the next day. That was it. It was short. It was buttoned down. Yeah. But we came here to San Diego. I had my foundation, and always, you know, we had the section called Winfield Pavilion and stuff, and so I knew all the kids in the communities. They said, what are we going to do? I'm going to make my second All-Star team right here in '78. They said, what are we going to do? Where are they going to get tickets? I don't know. So I said, asked my foundation, let's have a big party for all the kids in San Diego. So we rented out the Master Host Hotel down in Mission Valley. It's called something else now. We bought them food. We had music. I had about 10 of my All-Star buddies come, and we signed autographs. And then we asked the Padres, you know, why don't you just open the gates when people finish there and let them watch us practice? Nowadays, you can't imagine that. You know it wouldn't work.
That's right.
It wouldn't work. No, we're not going to do that. And so they opened up the gates, and about probably, I guess, 8,000 people probably came and just watched us practice. And then it struck a chord with MLB, I guess, and you know, they said, you know what? Next year, why don't we'll charge for that open practice?
Right, 8,000 people, we can get money out of that.
But they did give the money to charity,
oh.
And I know they still do a lot of that
yes,
as well.
Yes.
So, and it's grown exponentially. But I'm telling you, it started in San Diego, 1978. Be proud. Be proud, San Diego.
We are full circle here. We're full circle. Well, I always like asking the All-Star players, you know, what was it like for that first one in '77, and you went to 12 of them. So, you know, kind of who were those guys in the locker room that you really wanted to play with and get their autograph? Because you're a fan at that time too, you know.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Who were those guys for you?
I mean, you know, out of college, I had all these guys pinned up on my wall. You know, I want to be a hitter like Willie McCovey or Stargell. You know, those imposing figures driving in runs. When I'm pitching, I'm Bob Gibson or Tom Seaver, one of those guys. And all of a sudden, I'm playing against them, and you see them, and you know. But are you? So it took me about 4 years to learn to play at an all-star level. See, what gets you there doesn't always help you progress or grow. If you never listen and you never change and you never make adjustments, you could be toast. You could be a dinosaur, extinct, early, go home. So I came early, stayed late, shut my mouth, watched guys who were professional the way they went about their business and who were successful on the field. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, man, you know, I have as much ability. I can run as fast as this guy. I'm strong as this guy. I have an arm like this guy. How do I put it all together so I'm not one-dimensional? And then it took me about 4 years, and I made that first All-Star guy hit 300, 308 or something, drove in 100 maybe, and then I went to that All-Star game, and you walk in the locker room, and all of a sudden I see guys, the Big Red Machine. You got Tony Perez and Joe Morgan and Pete Rose, and you got Willie Stargell, and you got Steve Carlton, and Willie Mays was the honorary coach. Joe DiMaggio was the honorary coach for the American League. It's like, man, I'm sitting in here with the greats. And then by the time the day is over and you had fun, you say, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do whatever it takes to come back. So I never got complacent. I always went back to the drawing board. How do I get better? And here's the key thing, set goals. You have to set goals. And for me, I was an RBI guy first. I said, when the season started, before it started, I want to drive in 100 runs. I was fast. I said, I want to score 100 runs. I said, back then it was, let me hit at least 20 home runs, steal some bases, play aggressive, flawless defense. Because I hated if you make an error and on the scoreboard they put big E9, E9. It was like a branding iron. Right. E9, E9. You want to run out, please.
That sounds like a nightmare just waking up, yeah.
Enough of those errors.
And you started out as a pitcher, which meant you had obviously a very strong arm, which was a nice transition. But talk about, starting out as a pitcher and making that transition to right field.
Well, simply, when I was a kid, when I was their age, I started out as an infielder and then a pitcher. And I did, and so all through high school, I pitched and I played shortstop. And then I was drafted by Baltimore Orioles as a pitcher, 35th round out of high school. And I said, it was easy to turn down the $500 in a bus ride. I'm gonna go to college.
I'm good, yeah.
So 4 years later, I come out a first round draft pick, Padres, and I said, what do you want me to do? Because I pitched and hit in college. We want you to hit every day. So can you believe my college coach only let me hit 1 year in college? 1 year, my last year. Their infinite wisdom. But I was very fortunate when I got drafted because I was drafted in football, basketball, baseball.
That's right.
That I negotiated. You got to have leverage. I said, well, if I play baseball, I have to go right to the big leagues. All right. They probably figured I'd fail. But I'm one of those guys, throw you in the water, I'm going to swim. I'm dog paddling until I know how to, breaststroke. And I was fortunate to survive and make it.
Well, I think you did a little bit better than just dog paddle after a little Hall of Fame career.
Took a while. A lot of mistakes. A lot of come early, stay late.
Now, for you were a great hitter, but what did you take more pride in, that hitting that home run or whatnot, or having that throw from outfield and making that laser throw and getting a guy out at second or third? What kind of got you more pumped?
If it came down to those two,
or anything, what kind of got you really pumped as a player out there?
Well, we'll put it this way: I was blessed. I knew that you can have 5 skills or tools in this game. You can hit for average, hit for power, run, field, and throw. And I knew I had some of each of those in me. The best thing I had going was probably my arm, always. I always had a good arm. And so I would delight in the fact, let a guy tag up. I would want them to hit me the ball. Tag up. I got something for you. And for the ball on one hop to be waiting with the catcher and the umpire, yeah. What now? You're from the outfield. Yeah, what next? I got to tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
We're playing, and we had a guy. I won't use his name because I love him, but he came over and he wasn't a very good outfielder, and there were some tight games. Can you believe, like the right-handed batter up and the pitcher's in there, and I'm in right field, and they knew that if there was a sacrifice fly, that it would probably go to left field. So between, the pitcher's on the mound, the manager would come out and say, switch in the outfield. There were a few times, I'd go to left field, and, the other guy go to right field. So, just so he was out of the way. That player didn't really like that. But it was, we did things like that back in the day. So my arm was always what I enjoyed. But it took me 20 years in the big leagues. And when we finally won a World Series in Toronto, that I did something that my brother and I would end our practice each day. Whether we were playing in the backyard or jump the fence somewhere in an old abandoned field, we'd always end that practice. You're up to bat, and that last pitch, so you can feel good. Yep. You get a hit, you drop, basically we always say bases loaded or whatever, 2 outs, men on base. Yep. You're up, bam, and you get a hit, and you win. that's how we'd end the practice. You don't want to end swing and miss, and then you go home and think all night,
Right.
how did I miss that pitch? How did I miss? So I got a chance to do it in Toronto, where I got a double, drove in a couple of runs, helped us win the World Series. But it took that long. Nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
But that's what I always dreamed of,
Right.
and did it many years later.
I mean, it's so important, like you said, to play as a kid, but also to have those visions. So when you are in that situation, you're like, I've been here before, thousands of times in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm calm. I'm ready. Let's.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, and it's not just for hitting. Did anybody watch the Futures game yesterday? Did you see how the kids jumped? You know, one of them jumped over the wall and one leaped over another. Kids, practice that now on a safe fence, just with your buddies. You know, all you can do it. You have a couple of rubber balls or tennis balls or something, and run out toward a fence. Don't run into it and just crash through it like a car, you know, crashing through it. But just jump up by the fence. You have to practice it. If you never practice it, you'll never do it when it comes time for the game. So they did it hundreds of times just for fun. You know, do a backhand, do it this way. Do all of those things. Just like when you practice, infield practice, if you're an infielder, don't just, the only balls, you get 100 balls hit straight at you and you make the play. How many times? Get half of them backhand and throw the ball. Or here's just even a routine thing you can do with no one around. Throw a rubber ball or a tennis ball off of the wall, and after you catch it, 50 times like this, throw it, field it, throw it with the right footwork. The next 25 or throw it off the wall, backhand, throw it, backhand. And if your glove doesn't hold on to the ball, work on your glove. Because parents, how many people have come up to me in the airport and I see the kids, they got their bags and they're traveling and everything. Dave, my son, he's a great hitter and everything, you know, very good. Can he feel? Then they stutter. I said, let me see your glove. And it's all flat, dry, crusty, dusty, broken, untied. And I'll shake my head just to get, I said, you're not a ball player yet. Learn to take care of that glove. If we had time, I'd show you a 5-minute demonstration on how you take care of your glove. But you have to have some love for that glove. Because if you don't feel, you're one-dimensional, two-dimensional. You ain't gonna make it. You hear what I'm saying?
Yep. And there's,
You
absolutely.
gotta play some D. The offense, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
And do you think Jose Canseco practiced hitting the ball off his head?
He did. I think he played soccer when he was a kid.
Oh, Jose, sorry. Well, obviously, we could talk forever, and I love talking, but I'd love for the fans to be able to get a chance. So,
Let's do this.
Heather has
Anybody up in the back? Anybody? Any kids?
right behind you, Heather. There's a woman right behind you, literally behind you, quite literally.
To the side of me.
Oh, I apologize. I need better with my directions.